Welcome back to Magic in the Muck, a soul's compass for change. I'm Jennifer Nagel, and I'm so glad that you're here. In the last episode, I shared what guides me in this healing work, my own inner compass, and the 4 principles that shape how I support transformation. If you haven't listened to that one yet, I encourage you to check it out because today's episode grows right out of that ground. So today, we're turning toward a place that many of us are uncomfortable with facing directly. Resistance. You know, that inner pushback, the wall, or the shutdown. That place where you want to change, you believe you want to change, and you know that something isn't quite working anymore. But somehow you just can't seem to move. Does that ever happen with you? I know it happens to me. There are times where I feel like I am so ready for change, and yet something holds me back. We judge that place, and we call it self-sabotage or procrastination or laziness. And if you're a therapist or a coach or a healer, you've probably seen it in clients and maybe even felt frustrated by it. But here's the thing. What if resistance isn't what we think it is? Virginia Satir, whose teachings have been a huge major compass in my life, said something that changed the way I see people and changed the way I see myself too when I'm faced with resistance. She said that resistance is about fear. So let's let that land for a moment. Resistance is about fear. It's not that we don't want to change. You know, change is inevitable. It happens. If we're alive and living, change and transformation happens. But sometimes there's something inside of us that doesn't feel safe yet. When I teach therapists, I always remind them of this, that what you perceive as resistance in someone else might actually be a part of them that's saying, I don't trust this yet, or I'm scared. I've been here before and it hurt. I remember once a client saying to me, you know, every time I get close to putting in the work towards change, it's like I hit an invisible wall. That invisible wall, that was fear. It wasn't failure. And the very fact that this client was even coming to see me told me that there were parts of her that were ready to work on transforming the perceived obstacles that were getting in her way. So when we reframe resistance this way, everything changes. Instead of pushing or pathologizing, we begin to listen, really deeply listen. We begin to build trust with the part that is afraid. Maybe you know that place in yourself. You know, the moment that you sign up for something new and suddenly feel sick to your stomach. That's happened to me, literally. The invitation that you've longed for, and then you turn it down. Or the step you plan to take, and then find yourself procrastinating again and again. That is not failure. It's a part of you protecting something tender. A part that may have learned long ago that change is dangerous or costly, or maybe it leads to abandonment. Resistance is not a wall to push through. It's not something to force through. It's a whisper to be heard. So let's slow that down for a moment. And if you're in a place where you're able to, and if it fits for you, just really allow yourself to slow down and take a breath. Really consciously take a deep breath, maybe placing a hand on your body wherever you feel tension or protection. And just ask that part gently. What are you afraid of? And don't worry about judging whatever answers are coming to you. Just see if you can listen. What are you afraid of? What are you trying to protect? Just asking that part, what would help you feel safe enough to soften? Just noticing what happens inside you when you're asking this part and paying attention. Often when we meet resistance with presence instead of pressure, it begins to shift. So just being present. It won't shift necessarily overnight, not with force, but with patience and with attunement, with compassion. That's why this podcast is called Magic in the Muck, because that very place that feels stuck or dark or unbearable might actually be the doorway. You know, when you think of muck or mud, that's where the nutrients are. It's messy, but it's also fertile ground, and that's where the soul does its deepest work. Underneath resistance, we often find the wisdom of the body, the voice of the soul, the old wound asking for a different outcome this time. So for today, I'd like to leave you with this. What if the part of you that you've been judging is actually the part that needs the most compassion? What if that no isn't a block, but it's maybe a boundary? What if it's your soul saying, not yet, or not this way? I'd like to leave you with a practice for this week. Just notice one area of your life where you might be feeling stuck or resistant. And instead of trying to push through it, pause and take time to ask, what does this part of me need to feel safe? You can journal about it or speak to it aloud. You might be surprised what you hear. And in the next episode, we're going to explore how transformation begins to take shape when we keep showing up. We'll look at integration, practice, and how small soul-aligned steps begin to change everything over time. I'll leave some reflection questions in the show notes for you to journal about. Until then, thank you for being here, for honoring the parts of you that are afraid, and for remembering, even here, even now, there's magic. Thank you for being here with me on Magic in the Muck. If today stirred something in you and you're ready to walk this path more deeply, I invite you to join the Soul Compass Circle, a journey of reflection, connection, and soul-aligned living. You don't have to do this alone. Just visit the link in the show notes to step into the circle. I look forward to meeting you there.
I'm Michelle Abraham, founder of the High Vibe Podcast Network, and we're honored to have Jennifer Nagel's show Magic in the Muck as part of our network family. For more inspiring shows like this one, visit highvibepodcastnetwork.com, and don't forget to grab your free gifts from our hosts in the gift vault. Stay high vibe and keep sharing your light.